Let's put this in the grave. February 25th, 9:47 a.m. District Court Defendant Lobby Note 2. This is the defendant lobby, alright, but there's no defendant. I'm trying to reach Lana all morning. Where could she be? Where's Emma, for that matter? It seems as if things have been happening behind the scenes. Edgeworth! Knowing you, you've already figured it out. Who the owner of the 77777 D number is, that is. Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who's figured it out. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there's still room for doubt regarding this ID record. That number does belong to... well, fuck, if that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True, not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling. 5 minutes, right? Oh, 5 minutes, right? And Chief Prosecutor Skye will be found guilty. She didn't do it! Figured you say as much. That's why I came here, to hear what you have to say. This is the first time he's ever done something like this. Lana's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth? Everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid, today's the last day of the trial. We won't have time to reminisce about the past. It depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. Don't think about it. See you in court, right? Got him. Pro gamer style. This is it. If I'm ever going to find out what Chief Gant has on her, it's now. Here we go, guys. It's the final countdown. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally, this is when the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But, before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. Chief Gant. Fuck. Morning, folks. How's everyone doing? Hey, had you been to the pool yet? What's with you and swimming? No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my work. Oh, that's a good one. Don't think I can top that. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? Lana that is to say, the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. Fuck. Great. What's this all about, defendant? I'd like to make one simple request and I'll be finished. Well then, what's your request? Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial. I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. Oh, Lana! You fucking... oh my god, you fucking idiot. Objection! You can't! Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services, but Lana. Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it is sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please. Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. Her request is legally valid, although this is an unpredicted situation. Indeed, it appears there is no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. Can be happening. It appears it's time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant. Objection! One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth, the prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Slam! Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature. Come on now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you, but why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut? Oh. Big think. I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant. What? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes. Sorry, but I'm no longer this naive little boy you would have me be. With this little sudden confession from the defendant, it is obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal, Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy. I thought so, Your Honor. The prosecution would like to change its first witness. Oh, to whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. I request the court hears her testimony. Hold it! Mr. Edgeworth, I'm exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to I don't care what you think, Miss Skye. The exposure of the truth sometimes results in a tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. Very well. The court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant? Worthy? You'll live to regret this, mark my words. Miss Emma Skye, please take the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins. Get that son of a bitch out of my sight. Now then, witness, get that son of a bitch out of my sight. Please, state your name and occupation. My name is Emma Skye. My occupation, Lana's little sister, and I want to be a scientific investigator. Hey, you gave her no trouble. Gave him no trouble with the name and occupation. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark Killings. Is this correct? Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Mr. Edgeworth, please remember this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Yes, it most certainly is. Well, okay then. You sure came in fast. No. Please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. Trip to yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. It's a good thing you weren't harmed. I passed out. I don't remember much. It's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth. What does this testimony have to do with David? Oh, fuck. With Detective Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. You gotta admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence. Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination. For whatever reason. We would think the prosecution would do it, but no, okay. That ain't right. Fuck. With the chest, he was stabbed in the back. That's some bullshit. Fuck you, Judge. Look at the autopsy. Fuck it. All of it. There must have been a real shock. You're gonna close my eyes, I can still see it clearly. Tell us. What was it that you were doing in the moment? I believe you testified that Joe Dark was holding you hostage. Oh, when the lightning struck and the lights went out, Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark I was thrown aside and the two began wrestling each other. I'm pretty sure I was watching them. Emma doesn't have any reason to lie. Alana sure does. I need to get Emma to tell us as much as she can. 2 years ago, the defendant was detective. Alright, 2 years ago, the defendant was a detective at the police department, correct? Yes, she was second in command under then Deputy Chief of Police Gant. My sister, she was the best detective ever. Yes, I remember. Deputy Chief Gant and Miss Sky used to be quite the pair. I believe they shared the same office. That's right. I'd always sit at my sister's desk and dream about playing that organ. I always wanted to play it that day too. Or what? Police department and the prosecutor's office held a ceremony that day. Lana promised to take me to dinner after she finished her work. We never got to eat dinner. Man. Yes, Joe Dart. He was a serial killer. Joe Dart was brought in for questioning on the day of the ceremony. We were desperate to get anything on him that would lead to an arrest. When he saw his chance, he fled the room, right? On fleeing the room, Dart proceeded to take the elevator. He must have been in a panic because the elevator was going up. He then ran into Sky and Gant's office. There were lots of noise coming from outside, so I opened up the door to have a look. That's when I saw him. What was the prosecutor doing there? That day, there were two people present during the question. Deputy Chief Damon Gant and Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Almost forgot about Gant. Neil Marshall had just received the King of Prosecutors Award. Oh shit, yeah, you're out here fast. Takes elevator. Elevator's going up. Oh shit, oh fuck, oh god. Young and dedicated, he went straight to the questioning room after the ceremony. I haven't had the talking Edgeworth's voice for so long. I assume he would also be. I would assume that would also be why he was the first to run after Dart. When Dart grabbed me, I thought I was as good as dead. And that's when Prosecutor Marshall came running in. I don't clearly remember what happened then, but. Not up. Clicking. Somebody clip that. Oh fuck. Can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on Dart just then. The lights went out. The lights? It was just about this time. Oh fuck. It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on. Lightning struck nearby. Oh fuck. We're going up. So the electricity went out. Wait a minute. If it was a pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right? Right, but just then lightning flashed again outside. That's when sudden flash left an unforgettable image in the scene of my mind. I see. I told the detective about what I saw then. The detective? Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case. Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim. So you spoke with the Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago? Yes, that's what was so scary about this trial. And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw? Yes, but at the time, the words just couldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough? In this picture the witness drew, I believe it has a very important meaning. Objection! But the list of evidence— why are you objecting? But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony? Yes, Your Honor. Objection! Mr. Edgeworth. This little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. Slam! And yet you would insist on denying its existence? Fuck. Ah! Slam! Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold! This is the evidence list for the SL9 incident? Please turn it over. Turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over, turn it... Ah, what's this? Yes, what is that? What is that? Hey, that's it, that's the picture I do. Indeed, two men appear to be wrestling here. Objection! What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Hey. Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list. Ah. These lists, they're different from each other. What? It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they were torn apart from each other. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened 2 years ago. Only half of the evidence in that case has ever reached you. What? What? Order. Miss Skye, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list? Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor. Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Slam! Your Honor! Are you alright, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. It's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible, yeah. Let's see. M&M's. Something wrong? Do you even have to ask? I shake. Sorry, Your Honor. There is indeed something drawn on the back of this list. It's that thing. What? That's that thing. Thing that was dancing in the evidence room. Really, this is an act of vandalism. So, this act of vandalism is the third chief of detectives. I guess he was out of the scrap paper. Sam, anyone witness? Will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago? Yeah, oh yes, Your Honor. Sir, Honor. What's wrong with Emma? She seemed to be thinking about something when she was looking at the picture. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. Is that it? Jesus, that was funny. Everyone in your mind thinks of that, though. She was able to show us exactly what she saw. Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder prosecutor Neil Marshall. Defense may now begin its cross-examination. Fuck, is there? There's not. I think we have to hold it and fucking press it out of her. And did you draw this picture right after the incident? I think I drew it 2 or 3 days later. At first, I was in such a state of shock that I couldn't do anything. During that time, the investigation team was reorganized. Detective Goodman was placed in charge under the direction of Damon Gant and Lana Skye. 2 or 3 days later. The memory should still be fresh in her mind. Excuse me, witness. But can you please tell us why this picture is painted in all black? At the time you didn't even know it was Mr. Marshall who had come to your rescue. No, I couldn't see him clearly. The lightning was so bright, and I was knocked to the floor. You were knocked to the floor. Dark had a tight grip on me, but Mr. Marshall jumped on him. I was knocked away. I turned around, and that's when the lightning flashed. Poor Emma. I'm just glad she wasn't hurt. What happened after the lightning flash? You mean, you didn't see the actual murder take place? No, I'm sorry. Objection! The flash of lightning only drove off the darkness for a split second. Not only that, but the trauma of the situation understandably caused the witness to faint. Slam, do you really need to torture this girl any further? What? Hey, I'm not the bad guy here. Anyway, let's make sure. Slam! Sorry for asking so many times, but are you sure you drew exactly what you saw? Of course, this is the exact scene. Influence it anyway. From your talks with the detectives? Objection. Are you insinuating that we somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright? No, of course not. Better watch out or he might find some way to cut my salary. I drew this picture before I heard anything from the detectives, so I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me. Mr. Wright, is there something that's bothering you about this picture? Huh? Oh, well. That's strange. She claims that this is exactly the scene that imprinted in her mind, and yet there's clearly a contradiction here. What fucking... What? What fucking contradiction? Oh, what fucking contradiction? Do. You stabbed in the fucking back. What? Not the... Objection! Okay, now I can use it. Thank God. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction. What? I still remember her just like it was yesterday. Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. What part of this picture... Take that! Slam! I think it's this part here. What? It's because the drawing. That's because the drawing stinks. Mr. Wright, how could you? The act of making an innocent girl cry should warrant you the death penalty. That was fucking funny though, come on. What do you mean? What? I'm pointing him out because he was stabbed in the back. What the fuck am I pointing out? The knife, really? Fucking stupid. It shouldn't matter what I point out. It should just... The contradiction, of course, lies here. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see its tip is broken. Even I know if to look closely. See that, Mr. Wright? Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the murder weapon? Its tip is broken too. If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body. It was a conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was murdered. I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma. Objection. And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. Slam. If the victim was stabbed once, the murder weapon should not yet be broken. Ah! What's the meaning of this? Objection. Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. Objection! Sorry, I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. Slam. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there. That's right, but what does this mean? Objection! The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. That is the only possible explanation. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is mistaken. Objection! That's why I asked her so many times just so she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time. But she was sure, but she was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency. Objection! Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There's another explanation. Have you forgotten already about a little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, right? All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. No. Ah! Order, order, order! Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted? Your Honor, please allow me to once again go over the events that took place the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors Award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gant. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark, but it was my belief that somewhere in this story, there's a lie. I'm not lying! The man was really holding up that broken knife. If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken knife. There's a chance of there being two broken knives. Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's. Could there have been another one? If the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained. It can't just be explained away by a simple observational error. Yes, you're right. In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume then that you have some information about this other broken knife. If so, please feel free to enlighten us. Murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this. Here's the real murder weapon. Oh, that spear! Take that! The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past. Right inside this picture. This is a picture of the award ceremony. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding. That's a broken knife. As we earlier concluded, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood from this award. Order, order, order. Neil Marshall was awarded the King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shield and knife. And when he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was only a weapon he had in this dangerous situation. Objection! But that can't be. Oh, and why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because if the King of Prosecutors Award knife was the murder weapon, then the murder and the victim would be reversed. What do you mean? I mean, this man raising the knife would have been the prosecutor, Neil Marshall. Oh. Oh! But the prosecutor was the one who actually died. That's true. What's going on here? seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump on to conclusions. Hold it. Wait, I remember now. I remember everything. Fuck. Witness. Mr. Edward. Oh, I saw. What is it? Oh yeah, I can see now. I already know. That was gonna be my guess when I was looking at it. I was looking at stuff earlier. It's kind of putting the pieces together. Could you show your evidence list again, please? His list. The one with that picture scribbled on the back? I knew it! This picture! I'm the one who drew it. What? You drew that? That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. This time I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside me. Slam! Perhaps it would be best if we added this to the witness testimony. Would you please tell us what you recall, Sky, Your Honor? First the knife mix-up and now the blue badger. Should be interesting. And raised his knife, I panicked and rushed towards both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then there was another flash of lightning and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. That can't be. It's certainly most unusual. Objection! Try impossible. The chief of detectives hadn't even designed him until this year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Yes, well, the defense may never get its cross-examination. Hold it! Stop, please, don't pursue this any further! Lana! What is the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair. But you can't do this, I've already confessed to the crime. Why can't you just leave it at that? Chief Prosecutor Sky. We've already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Yeah, so shut the fuck up. Silence. The defense will now be in cross-examination. Aleph, please detain the defendant. I think that's actually really accurate to what would happen in a real legal cause. Defendant should not do that. Seems like we're finally getting to the core of the matter. That was recollection. I saw the man raise his knife. I panicked and rushed towards both of them. Hold it. Are you sure about this? Of course, see? I even drew a picture of him here, but it was the chief of detectives who thought this hideous piece. That was just this year. The blue badger didn't exist 2 years ago. And this is all quite verifiable. It all sounds strange, but I was surprised to know too what I saw at the police department. I had this nagging feeling I'd seen him before somewhere. I finally remembered. And brother, just done. His shadow? You mean you didn't actually see his face with the winning smile and all? That's right, but I still remember. He had 3 creepy horns. Objection. This is pointless. That thing couldn't have possibly existed 2 years ago. The witness must be mistaken. Objection. That may well be. That is important to it is important. But what's important is what caused her to think she saw what she did. No, and I do suppose you have an explanation? If so, then by all means, please tell us what this shadow really means. What was Emma saw when she, who is that blue badger really? The blue badger hadn't even dreamt of Emma through this picture, yet she's certain she saw its shadow. Ladies and gentlemen, we got it. It is the defense's belief on that fateful day 2 years ago. There indeed was something that looked similar to the blue badger. Something that is now sitting in this very room. That's right. In this very room, very well, Mr. Wright. What is it that the witness saw in that instant? Please show us this mysterious blue badger looks like. Take that! The mysterious blue badger was in fact this. But that's... what exactly is that? I believe it's some sort of jar. Well, Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the blue badger. Indeed it doesn't. At least, as it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint? Our viewpoint? We have to show them the correct angle to make the angle to look at this. Bruh. Bruh. Oh, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that. Can I accept this claim? That was an accident. I didn't mean to do that. I accidentally pushed the wrong button because the rotating buttons are so stupid. Fuck. Fucking dumb. This is dumb. I don't like the way they set these. Yay! Yay! That looks almost right. Almost. Come on! Oh my god. This is so stupid. Can I use the mouse? Oh my god. This makes life easy. Wait. Fuck. Oh, fuck. Wait, was it H-N? Oh, fuck. Fuck. This is big brain time. Yeah, fuck it, take that. God damn it. I needed to reset anyway, I fucked it up. Make it look like this dumb badger. It is obvious that the badger committed this crime. We're getting there. Fuck. God, the way this operates is it's so poorly designed. What the fuck you mean? I'm gonna take a nap while you do this. That fucking looked around right to me, I don't fucking know. Like, can't you guys see? Are you blind? I can't truly be the blind one here. You fucked it too hard. That looks like it to me. That looks like it to me right there. Like, look at it. Right there. Look at it. Take that. What the fuck you mean? Come on, why is this so... It's fucking... The game should automatically register it for me. That's not fucking fair. A bit higher? Like, why is it even... Why is it that sensitive to begin with? Trickiest part is getting it to sit straight. Oh fuck. Oh my god, it's so dumb. And the mouse is worse. Doing it with the mouse is worse. There, that should be perfect. Thank fucking god. Jesus fuck. Oh, is this a miracle or what? No one can possibly deny the star's resemblance to the Blue Badger. Now please stop playing this music before I lose it. It's giving me a headache. No, it can't be. Order, order. The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious Blue Badger witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this. Objection. Although we enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? What do you mean? Though that badger thing was actually just a jar. That doesn't change anything. Objection. Fuck. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see? Slam! This changes everything. Indeed? Very well then. Please tell us. What difference now... Oh, fuck. What's the difference now that we know the witness saw this jar? Fuck. The murder weapon! The location. I think it's the location. I'm pretty positive it's the location. We know the murder weapon, we know the murderer. I'm pretty sure it's the location. Wanted to make at the moment of the murder, this witness saw this jar. A very specific angle, I might add, Mr. Wright. Yes, well, knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? Where? The location of this jar is shown in the picture taken on the day of the crime. On the shelf of the office is Damon Gant. Objection! But the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk. The witness testified so herself. Objection! Slam! Yes, and it is these two facts that reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room in Chief Gant's office. Objection. You implying the murder moved the victim's body? From Damon Gant's office to Lana Sky's office? Yes. Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. And the only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. Do you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright? I finally figured it out. So this is why Lana tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. And the next instant the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? It would have been the impact the man made when he was knocked into the wall. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, that would mean what would he have hit? Ah, the suit of armor, holding a very sharp and dangerous looking sword. Yes. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have to have been Neil Marshall wielding the King Prosecutor's Trophy. Oh, Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking. Yes. There was another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Another possibility? Slam! Of course, the perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless, I don't know if I can go through with this. Mr. Wright, what's the matter? If events took place as the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Skye knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil Marshall, perpetrator. You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? No! Fuck. Never imagined her testimony would lead to this. It was the witness who took the victim's life, and then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented. Objection! What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Skye, but given the circumstances, Joe Dark murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you pin this crime? How dare you try to pin this crime on her? Imagine that coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out what Emma did, wasn't it? Are you sure, Mr. Edgeworth? I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're gonna have to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence. If we don't have evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. So we can't get dead people to testify. This has all been a wild goose chase from the beginning. Touche, Miss Skye. Of course. That only leaves us with one possibility. I mean, there's still another possibility. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? I mean the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For the better or the worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life, in one manner or another. That's impossible. Well, Mr. Wright, what is the only possibility left to you? A message from the deceased? Does such a message exist? Think back to the court record. The real murderer's name that the victim may have left behind. Fuck, does it? Is it there? I think it was. I thought there was something there. Fuck. It's in the evidence! Fuck you! I'm bluffing! This message from the deceased is already in our possession. Mr. Wright, will you stop at nothing to prove my sister murder? She fucking did it! Do not be mistaken, Miss Skye. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There is only one thing we seek. The truth. And justice. No matter how painful it may be. Now then, Mr. Wright, please show us the piece of evidence that conveys a message from the... They got... I can't read that language, but I mean, yeah, that makes sense. This is the message left by the deceased. That is the Blue Badger from before, right? Oh, he's gonna speak... Oh, he's gonna speak the killer's name. If that thing could, I'm sure it would. Looks like everyone's forgotten this is just a jar. A message was left here, on the surface of this jar. What do you mean? If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on this jar. Looks like someone wiped the blood away. Yes, but notice, for some reason the blood on some fragments was not wiped away. Yes, there's a line here drawn in blood. So what you're saying, that these dots were once lines. Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used a few precious moments left to him to leave behind a message. One that someone apparently wiped away. But the blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines changed direction. Sam. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect these points, and the victim's message will become apparent. No. Mr. Wright, what kind of message did the victim leave for us, Your Honor? I believe these bloodstains will reveal to us the true answer. I've got to connect these dots to make letters. There's only one thing the victim would have written given the circumstances: his murderer's name. Fuck! I'm gonna go to jail. Oh, fuck. We ain't saving. We ain't saving. Oh, fuck, I already started. Fuck. Okay, we gonna do it. Connect the dots, my favorite game. Which way was it written? Like this? Right down, I would guess. Oh, come on. Yes. Yo, come on. Don't be difficult. E. Come on. Come on. You can do it. Come on. Come on. Take that! It's a defense attorney's duty to prove their client's innocence. That's why I've been thinking about... Oh, fuck. That's why I've been thinking about... Fuck. That's why all I've been thinking about saying Lana. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out to like this. Emma. So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. Of all people, she may have not meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Skye. Seaworthy, can't say I didn't warn you. Shut the fuck up, you're the murderer. You can't. Do you understand the implications of what you've done? What? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in the case, were you not? Ugh. Yes, Worthy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. Ugh. Objection! But Joe Dark really was a serial murderer, that's undeniable. I'm afraid that's not important. Didn't you know? We are defenders of justice. What? We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter, even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery. Ultimately, the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. We might have not said, oh god, how could he just stand there like it wasn't his fault? Order, 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 order! Yav's pounding fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where is this trial headed? No one knows. Okay, we're continuing. We're finishing it. This is the last one. This is it. Right here. This is the last stretch. Trial former. We're fucking going right now. We're not stopping. Just go. I know, I would too. It's okay. Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. Help, I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, I guess I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run around on duty. On top of that, you call me here. I've seen half of your people at funerals. You said this before. I think the law is having you run errands again. Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here. He asked me to give this to you if there's a break in today's trial. Evidence law. Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day. You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. That right, is that right? He studies of evidence law, really. Chief prosecutors also wanted to give you a message. Message? She said if you're planning to take him on, you're gonna need this book. Guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. The 2 rules. Doesn't look like this book will do you any good now, though. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence. That's where you're wrong, detective. Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I am still sitting in that prosecutor's seat despite all these allegations being thrown at me? Mr. Edgeworth, the real trial today hasn't begun yet. What? What else is there left to do? Your credibility's has been all but ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of. This guy found out she unwillingly caused a man's death, and now you're telling me you want to do more? You gotta be kidding me, pal. Missing the point, Detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She really stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. What? And we're going to expose him, no matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. Fuck, man. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. The inquiry committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well, normally this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness, but, cough, cough. This isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have, struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witnesses? I didn't say that. It's just I see everyone has been talking, and... Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. What? But there's no precedent for what you're proposing. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Alright, what do you say? Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Then it's settled. Yeah, defense may now call forth the next witness. Mr. Wright? You do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. Let's call this. Take that! Damon Gant. The defendant calls Damon Gant to the stand. Damon Gant? What does that have to do with anything? Call Bruce Goodman. As the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? True. Alright, Bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand. Yo, Marshall. You guys are fucked up. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this, some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Slam! Your name and occupation! So, you want to play hardball, eh? Please, Mr. Gant. Fine. My name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony. Bailiff? Is it? My bad. Call Maya. Oh, righto, what's with the grim face? First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean the time Lana's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There's still some things unaccounted for. No, like what? Like the role you played in all of this. Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. You're aware... Fuck. You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal? Weapons? Sure, take my testimony for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. What? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. Of course, such an action carries with certain risks. Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Donald Trump. Cindy Stone. Call Miles. Very well, the witness may now begin his testimony. But SL9 incident. Why are we still talking about it? Fuck, I just want to get to Goodman already. Like, let's fucking... As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up, and the power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Yeah, you did, you fucking liar. Is that when Dark was arrested? Him? He was lying on the floor unconscious. And Emma sent Neil flying. It seems Dark bumped his head. See, everything seems clear-cut. The police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I better hit him hard and fast. As I recall... Fuck you! As I recall, a ceremony was held at the police department that day. Yes, that's right, I guess you could say I'm a workaholic. After winning his award, Neil was fired up too. That's probably what spooked Dark, made him run away like that. Was the defendant Lana Skye also present in the room? I don't quite remember. At the very least, she wasn't there when Dark ran for it. Yeah, I know. So the two of you ran immediately after him, right? That's right, but Dark made me to the elevator first. So Neil and I split up. He went upstairs and I went downstairs. I guess you could say he got lucky. This is all about a power outage? Oh, that. The elevator stopped and all of a sudden I got a shock of my life. Well, probably not as shocked as with Neil when oh my god, dude, you're so fucked off! What the fuck? That's not funny. Isn't it? I had nothing to do with forgery. Wouldn't it be the evidence list? Oops. There's also this too. Oh wait, let me look at this. The approval of the unregistered evidence presented must be relevant. Okay. Because it was broken and that piece was hidden from the jar too, apart from this. And probably the jar. Objection! You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery? But I am afraid that is a claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this jar, for example. That blue badger you showed us earlier. A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. Not only that, but evidence list I presented earlier. Slam was actually found inside your desk. It was found where? You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation. Chief Gant, what's the meaning of this? Oh, he's the defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then, that you were involved in the forgery? Who, me? Or do you mean you? Me? I would have anything to do with that. Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Righto? Objection! However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. What? Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work. Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office and their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My. These days will no longer know how to put two and two together. Evidence and forgery. Let's see what it is. Let's see, what is it now? A jar fragment and a list? For all you know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when these pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me in any way. Mr. Wright, yes, Your Honor. When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe the protocol. You do understand I am the Chief of Police, right? There will be consequences. Indeed, I believe I will press charges so you won't make the same mistake again. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting till tomorrow for that? Today as well, you know. Alright, a G in return, though. I know. That place, right? What are these guys telepathic? Where's the contradiction? I feel like I might know where it's at. Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after Dark was sentenced. Objection! Oh, wouldn't that be convenient? Right. The chief is talking about a possibility, so as long as you can't rule that out, your remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Only something I don't know. Oh, come on, right? Oh, think about it. Jesus. I'd appreciate if you'd stop making these ridiculous allegations. Yes, you do have a point. You would have the guts to do, you would have the guts to do something like that. What? I'll have you know, back in the day, I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped. Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry in the evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're gonna need it later. Later, what are you talking about? What else? I'm talking about when Rido's prints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, they would prove his investigation was illegal. Ugh, I never faced anyone as slimy as this guy. What do you mean by that? This is all purely hypothetical, of course, but suppose I did place those items in my safe, such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery. Objection! Slam. If concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery, I'm not through speaking yet, righto. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it couldn't. Oh, sorry. I think I already read that. I already did. Whoops. Slam. How could you look at me in the eye and say that? Because I'm innocent. Remember? Who was it that murdered Neil? Not sure I can care for the word murder here. In the end, the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Scully. Well, now do you see? Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Really, Chief Gant? At the very least, there is one very large benefit you have reaped from all of this. No, I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would of course be the position you have, Chief of Police. Oh, the resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Oh, that's a good one. Huh? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes, he was going to be made chief anyway. Ugh. Be careful when pointing that finger. You might wind up being the one pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There, it's out in the open now. Edgy, would you mind if I changed my testimony a little? By all means, please do. Wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me. Nothing in it for you. Sorry, the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again. You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on a crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to be waxing tough on yourself, though. Ho ho ho. That's a good one, Worthy. There been something in it for him. Given the selfishness, he would have helped. True, you might not help out anyone for their sake, but if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean. Very well then. Who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forge? Take that! Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye, the defendant. I believe it's quite obvious in the light of the circumstances. Lana Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. Slam! That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was approved chief prosecutor at the prosecutor's office, and the person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. But how would he profit from all of this? He would be able to use the chief prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. You mean to tell me that despite the chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Oh wait, you must mean puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive to appoint her as chief prosecutor so you could control her. Right on, my boy, you have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying I've done such a thing? Lana... She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant. I'm afraid without any proof this amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless... that is also what happened in this incident. This incident? Or which one would that be? Of course I'm talking about... the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The chief prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. Worthy, you'd better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? Slam! What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. Whoa, what? Order. I said order! Shut the fuck up in my court! You fucking... Mr. Wright, you can't be serious, huh? This is an affront. This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency to accuse the chief police of blackmail and murder. That it's impossible. Your Honor, I was merely reinterpreted what Mr. Edwards said in easier to understand language. It is too late, Mr. Wright. Damn, there's no turning back for us now. Looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? The chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder? Good question. Shrek meme. Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. Alright then, let's see what Mr. Wright's got. And it better be good. Show us the evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman. God. Bruh, hold up, I'll be right back for a second. God. Yeah, that was him, alright. That was him, alright. He's... Bro. I hate people that do that. They deserve the death penalty. Take that! This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 777777. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that that's my card number. It is, it's your number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits, you don't mean? I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 77777. The same number as the remaining ID card number on that list. Yeah, take a picture, I want to see it. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime! Ha, we got him! Fine. Order. Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defense searching was a violation of regulations, and I will demand Mr. Wright to be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. Chief Gant, so you admit it? You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime? What about it? I'm chief of police, whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. David Goodman wouldn't happen to be with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. Objection! You hadn't seen him in days, Chief Gant. I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. Slam! On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman! What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt. Objection! No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. The Chief... If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during the meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm gonna have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof. Show us proof the victim went to meet Chief Gant on the day of the crime. Submitted to the chief. Okay, it's gotta be this. Fuck it. Take that! Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the chief of police. And you were in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh. Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Hold on, let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the Chief of Police, murdered poor Goodman. Exactly. But wait, the Chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort. Objection. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. Yet, you showed us your ID card earlier. If you really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. No! Or, Chief Gant, you didn't. The murder was most likely a spur of the moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, he contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. Rejection. You're forgetting, Mr. Wright. The victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? Wasn't the police department the entire day, you know? And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have the entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey, you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we needed to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. This time I thought it was a useless clue that might have been taking up space. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us the evidence. To move the victim's body, Chief can't use this. Fuck, I feel like I might know. Take that! This is how you move Detective Goodman's body. A parking stub? Miles Edgeworth. You mean? The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car! Objection! You mean I carried the victim's body? Precisely so. But wait, even you know, I didn't plan on returning to my office after the ceremony finished that day. But you did return. Tell me why. I was asked to go. My Chief Gant, no less. He told me he wanted to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. So you see, what you were really taking to the prosecutor's office wasn't the screwdriver, but the victim's body in your trunk. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car? Yes, unless of course you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation, to transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye. Order! What is going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations? Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It is a photo of a body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please say something. I believe. Your time's up. My time is up. Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're going to make it in time for the early bird special. Objection! But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier? Police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. Objection. So you're going to just run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman, that's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, You think I had nothing to dispose of the body? If so, then show us your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations about him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright, Your Honor, do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and Miss Skye disposed of the body? Do we have any concrete proof? Don't. We just don't. I have to put the pride away. It's no use of showing evidence I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor. At present, I have no conclusive evidence. See, Aji? In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief. What? Here's a tip. Never gamble with what you can't afford to lose, righto. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Aji, I'll leave the rest to you. I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency. What? Objection! Lady Luck, Maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. Lady who knows the truth, another witness. In the absence of conclusive evidence, there is only one method of proof, his testimony. But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else, one more witness who can answer all the questions. Raised in this trial, someone right in this very room. Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person? Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling witnesses today. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? may not be willing to tell the truth, but can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor. Defense calls forth... Take that! The defendant? Miss Lana Skye? She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 p.m. on February 21st. Her task? To dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we'll reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now in Hold on! Huh? Chief Gann, I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana. Just talking to Lana. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder. She was 14. Even the sentence couldn't be that bad because it wasn't even on purpose. This isn't even good. Of course, you'd never support such an outrageous claim anyway, right? Just something to think about. Alright then, I've got a lunch date to meet. Okay, if there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess. I'm making food right now because it's taking so long that I'm hungry. Threat detected. You. Looks like we've managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. That chief, he's something else, eh, pals? Detective Gumshoe! Ha ha ha, I'm not a detective anymore. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Don't worry. I've already decided where to work now. At your office. Pug! 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 My office? Sure. I'll take the place. I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with. What do you mean? Oh yeah. Snail. Looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant's done it again. How is it he always gets the upper hand? It's not fair. He has the right to refuse to testify. Settle down, right? Remember what the judge said? But Chief, that is not a right that can casually be invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. Risks? What did he mean by that? That's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. I mean, he forfeits his right to say anything too. Emma, are you okay? Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery. I heard everything that's been going on. Oh, Emma, sorry for what I said before. Oh, don't be, it was the truth. And, you know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved. Relieved? Yeah, now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. And she did it all just to protect me. Oh, I gotta shoot, Gumshoe. Now, pal, please, pal, come on now. It was a joke, pal. Don't do it. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean? His voice is probably my favorite voice to do, I'm not gonna lie. What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders. She must have shut her... Fuck, he, she, fuck, he, me. She must have shut herself up deep inside. Pal, please, pal, wait, pal, it was a joke, pal, you gotta believe me, pal, come on, it was a joke, pal, I'm sorry, pal. There's so many fucking pals in that sentence. To force herself to do anything and everything the chief told her to. Must be why she became so cold. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall. Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. Pal. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal. It's what we live in. Chief again. If you want to fool everyone else with this portrait, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall down. Holy shit. Holy fuck. We live in a society, pal. You see, pal, it's this here society that blows. Oh, someone clipped that. Holy fuck. That was gold. I don't know. Oh, I see. Well, you better get back. It's time for the final act. Oh, fuck. Emma, why didn't you watch? No, I'm going with you. Go away. I want to be there when Lana tells the truth. Let's go, right? It's time to end this. Fuck you, we're continuing, we're finishing, fuck it, dude, we're denying, fuck you. I'm gonna finish this shit, it's the last thing I do. I'm not taking breaks in this stream yet. This is gonna be a long-ass fucking episode, but I don't fucking care. Jesus, Trial Ladder 2, like, fuck you. This is the end. This is the exact end. We're done here. We're gonna win. This is it. I promise you, this is legitimately the end. Now then, will the defendant, Miss Lana Skye, please take the stand? Miss Lana Skye, you are the chief prosecutor. Agua. No, it is the last part, though. Mally can confirm it. It's the very, very last part, and we're done with this case. Miss Lana Skye, you are chief prosecutor. I'm sure you are aware of what is required of you. Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know all that I've done these past 2 years. Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Skye. And remember, you are under oath. We want to hear the truth. Of course, the truth. Lana, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister. And then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with Chief Gant. Everything hinges on your testimony. Don't fuck it up. The only chance we have to get Gant. Gant and fabrication. Okay, I'll be right back too. I got food. Because this has been too long. I've worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to his... There's no truth to his blackmail theory. Fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. Found Prosecutor Marshall's body and rearranged the crime scene. The only motivation was to get Dark convicted, and had nothing to do with Emma. Are you sure about this testimony? Your Honor, I'm confessing to a capital offense, I'm sure. Alana! This is true, and that means Chief Gant has nothing to do with this. That's why I've been telling you from the very beginning. Please, Mr. Wright, you've got to help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me. Or she's telling the truth. She's not. I know my own sister. She's kind of stupid. When she speaks to me like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony. Yeah, this is no time to start second-guessing myself. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Where the fuck is your contradiction? How many years exactly? Ever since I made senior detective. Let's say I was 24 then, that would be 5 years. Detective Gant and Detective Sky were legendary partners. I personally saw them testify in numerous cases. She must have been good coming from the same school as Mia. Tim Gant was a respectable detective, that's why. There's no truth to his book. Slam! But think about it, Miss Sky. You didn't murder Detective Goodman. You told me as much yesterday in jail. Still don't get it, do you, Mr. Wright? Any testimony you cannot present in courses is useless as idle gossip. I stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. And? Yeah, I know, right? Did you help your sister? Okay, Joe Dark was a serial killer, and my sister almost became his last victim that day. I didn't want that incident to ruin her life. But what she did was justifiable self-defense. She wouldn't have been charged with anything. That's not the point. She was traumatized that day all because of that creep. That's why I couldn't forgive him. Anna, that's why you fabricated the evidence 2 years ago. You say you did this all by yourself? Yes. Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken prosecutor award knife was stuck in the victim's body. What? Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. It's only a situation you dreamed was possible. The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change this statement. You mean Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark? Something like that. If that is so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife. Oh, I was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away in the struggle. That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up her lies with more lies. All to protect me. So, when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what it boils down to. You planted the knife, then you moved the body. But why? Why would you do that? You of all people should know, Edgeworth. You've always had a great head on your shoulders. My head isn't that bad, but maybe I'd have to ask for the sake of others. But why did you do that? Come on now, Mr. Wright. Even you should be able to figure it out. Very well, let's add this to the witness testimony. The reason That's funny. Fixed what? Oh, you fixed it. You went to go fix it. When I showed up on the scene, where exactly was the victim's body? It was where you deduced it was, by Chief Gant's desk. The body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there? The reason for that is simple. Let's have a witness explain this in more detail. The reason why. Court. Crunch is way too loud, that's why I mute my mic when I just ate. Piece of the jar, you mean? Yes, that wrench jar you showed us earlier. In order to show that Dark committed the crime, I felt that it would be more expedient to move the body. So, when you first found the body, the jar was already... Of course, it had already been shattered into pieces. Mr. Wright, have you gone completely fucking insane? That was the fucking best part. If you looked at the scene, it would appear right away what happened. You know, Marshall was dead and Dark was lying unconscious. In other words, no, the jar must have been broken during the struggle. Crunch. Yes, Your Honor. We'll see. What's the matter, Emma? Apparently the jar shattered at the time the crime was committed, but I have a feeling there is more to it than that. There must be a contradiction here somewhere. Anyway, I committed this fabrication complete. The fuck? I think somebody put something in the microwave. Wait, watch this. Anyway, I was completely alone. So, you rearranged the crime scene? Are you sure? You didn't just keep Emma from like the murder? Oh my god. I have to tell you, sir. Emma didn't do it, period. He's so desperate to hide that fact. I'm gonna risk the death sentence. He's lying, she did so I wouldn't be blamed for what happened. In any case, as a prosecutor, what I've done is unpardonable. There's nothing I can do to make up for my actions. That's alright, my sister's lying. Looks like she's determined to protect you to the end. She insists she fabricate the evidence by herself. There's no way she could have done it all alone. Just want to slip. Okay. What was this one? Is it the jar? Objection! Miss Skye, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister. You mean the forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered? If the truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life, slam, will have been in vain. Even so, I am compelled to bring everyone's attention to a significant contradiction within your testimony. Contradiction of testimony? Okay. You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan." That's right. You have a problem with that? It's simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on this jar with the victim's blood. Yes, the prosecutor must have written his final moments. Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies. In order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar, it must not yet been broken before he died. Ah, slam! He couldn't have written Emma's name on a shattered jar. Order! Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regard to this jar and its bloody message. We may be missing something critical here. Something critical. Chief Prosecutor, it seems you're as in the dark as we are about the truth towards which we're headed. What? Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together information to arrive at the truth. Very well. The witness may now continue her testimony. Wait for the crunch. I'm gonna put this up actually and keep it warm. Cold in my house. I had to make sure it stayed warm because I'm not going to be able to eat and concentrate at this. I mainly didn't notice blood juice in the jar, but it was dark in the room. And I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were so large, I'm sure I got them all. All I can think of was, okay. I mean, you were the one who wiped away the message in blood? I wasn't chief prosecutor at the time. I didn't think Dark was the real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence. Very well. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. It's such a time-consuming trial, and that's the biggest issue I have with this. Like, if you thought the whole DL6 incident was long, this is taking it to a new toll. This is literally like double the time that the DL6 incident was DLC 8. So the jar was already broken. It's a miracle that thing hadn't broken earlier. It certainly looks like as feeble as the defense's case. As feeble as the judge's judgment. Oh! You're an ace detective. You never missed a detail. Do you really expect us to believe you didn't investigate what was written on the jar pieces? F. Normally I would have... So you didn't know your sister's name was written on the jar? No. If I had known, I would have gathered all the pieces and ground them to dust. Well, it helps my case. Oh, you do that for me? Maybe you two might make up yet. Although I barely had enough time to move the body as it was. If someone happened upon the scene, you'd lose your chance to erase the evidence. You must have been in a hurry. I was. I knew I had to destroy the evidence before anyone came. This is rather shocking. Be safe if I wiped away the blood. I'm afraid the action of yours reveals what really happened. What do you mean? If you really thought Dark killed Prosecutor Marshall, you wouldn't have wiped away the blood. What else could I have done in that situation? Anna. I only had a few moments. There wasn't enough time for me to do anything else but gather the pieces. Fragments were so large, I'm sure I got them. How could you see that? How could you see with the power out? It should have been pitch black in that office. Detective is always prepared, Mr. Wright. Even now I carry a pocket light and camera with me. Even I carry a bottle of emergency luminol wherever I go. Yeah, right. I never missed anything. I got every last piece. Well, she said she was the first one there, wasn't she? I thought she was. I don't think Gant was actually the first one there. So you illegally rearranged the crime scene. Yes, I don't have any excuse for my actions. I'm so sorry, Lana. I didn't know I treated you so badly this time. It's not too late. There's still plenty of time to make up. After we've gotten to the bottom of this incident. No doubt, this day will leave a permanent stain on the history of the prosecutor's office. More contradictions have surfaced in her testimony. Her sister's pretty putting up a fight. She doesn't really care about you. Still, she's not doing this the right way. I think I finally figured out the contradictions in her testimony. There's one final possibility that might turn this around. But wait, no! All I could think about. Fuck. Objection! Miss Sky, I believe this jar conceals a truth even you were unaware of. What? We found the final piece of this jar in Chief Gant's safe. In the Chief's safe? But how? I knew it. She really didn't know. Something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was still blood on it. But the witness just testified that she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off of them. Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation. Slam! On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered. You were not the first one to show up on the scene. Chief Gant got there before you. Well, couldn't the defendant have simply missed a piece? Objection! I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective. That may well be, but everyone makes mistakes. Even I once wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Ha, can you believe that? Objection. They were not, Your Honor. Have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken. All of that. There's no way a name could have been written on the shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness. Hope you're not implying this person was Chief Gant at the time. He was looking for dark downstairs. Besides, even if he were there first, why would he break the jar? Objection! The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide that fact for 2 years? Slam! Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that? No! Wait, I'm not the one on trial here. Did Gant arrive at the scene prior to the witness and proceeded to break the jar and purposefully hid one of the broken pieces. Question: what is this action called? Fabrication of evidence. But why would Chief Gant do that? In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear? What happened afterwards? Discovering the scene, Lana Sky believed her sister Emma killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending her his aid, Gant helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma. And there lies the reason. The reason why Miss Sky became the Chief's puppet. Ow! She straight up bit her finger. No, I did it on my own. Please, sis, stop trying to protect the Chief. I can't watch you suffer anymore for my sake. No, you didn't. It wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone. Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients. Foul lies. Imagine that coming from my own client. I guess you do seem like the type who likes to twist the truth. Wait a minute. What if we're still smack dab in the middle of Gant's trap? Something wrong, Mr. Wright? Lana? Maybe right after all. What do you mean, Mr. Wright? So, you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright? Miss Skye, please testify once more. What? If the evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie. But I do remember knocking over Marshall, Miss Skye, if you will. I can't. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination might not change a thing. However, there is a possibility that it will, if you tell the truth. Joe, you mean Dark? What the fuck? They said that Dark hit his head on something in the panic or in the fight. I don't know. I'll testify about what I really saw. Alright, the witness may testify once more for the final time. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on that suit of armor sword, and then Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what had happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. Had Chief Gant helped me remove the body from the sword and carry it, but in all reality, it was a fabrication. Emma might be innocent. Unbelievable, the body was impaled on the armor sword? Fuck, alright. I'm pretty confident in my trial skills right now, though. You're the only one who saw that, if you had proof. Actually, I do have proof. I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning. What? To me? It's a picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it. I thought it might be needed. But I don't remember receiving a picture like that. Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright, she really does have faith in you. Very well, Mr. Wright. Please present this picture. I don't remember receiving any pictures from Lana. I thought she gave it to you this morning, right? I seem to remember getting something from her then. Let's check the evidence again. Must be a picture in there somewhere. She gave me the evidence law. The heck? Oh, IQ 100. IQ 100. Hey, there's a picture here. Oh my. This is the actual crime scene. Another detective saw the crime scene like this because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I had arranged everything. On his picture inserted into the court record. Gasp! Mr. Wright. That picture cut from his vest. That piece cut from his vest. Could that be cloth we found inside Chief Gant's safe? Oh yeah, what's this? But it has her print on it. Why does it have Emma's print? The cloth, it had fingerprints on it. Whoever fingerprints those must be the real murderer. What? But those fingerprints, they're yours, Emma. Why are your lips turning purple, Mr. Wright? Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination. So as long as you're able to tell the truth, we should be able to flesh out the real murderer. Very well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. Actual crime scene. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled. Hold it! You motherfucker. Come on now, and Judgy, this is the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen. You can't. What, now you want to make me out as the bad guy too? If so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defense. Objection! And I'm afraid it's too late for that. What? You already declined to testify. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort. This must be that risk we were talking about earlier. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your own neck. Yeah. Yeah, so what? So you think I'm worried? I mean, that showed you were pretty worried. Sorry to disappoint you. I don't need to make any statements. What do you mean? The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence. Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence? No, I don't. But somebody does. Someone. So, what's your excuse, Rhino? Or have you been keeping quiet about it? Do you have something to show us, right? Have something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death? Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt? Is this true, Mr. Wright? Fuck. If I show that piece of evidence now, I'm sure to be made out as the murderer. Mr. Wright, do you have any more evidence presented now? And if you try to conceal anything, you will be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries. What do I do now? I better think this through carefully and can't afford to make the wrong decision. Should I present that piece of evidence? One that shows who really killed Prosecutor Marshall? Fuck. I mean, what else? Like, if we hide it, we're fucked. I'm thinking to hide it, because why show it? I don't get it. But I also want to show it. Fuck. Fuck. Kinda want to just show it, honestly. Fuck, I know I can't show it. There's no way I can show it. That's just gonna end it. Nah, this is a perfect run, so fuck it, I can't show it. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. What? You lie. Chief Gant, you opened my safe. I know you took what was inside. It's conclusive evidence. Lana needs to sleep, or I mean, fuck not Lana, I mean, fucking Lamia needs to sleep, dude. We need to get this shit over with. I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together. Oh, I see, it's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it? That's why you won't present it. What are you talking about, Chief Gant? Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? It looks like part of it's been cut out for some reason. You mean you had this in your safe? What? This means you, the chief of police, have been concealing evidence. This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department. Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gal, Righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened. What? You mean you admit it? You admit to it? I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana. So you really were manipulating her. I knew Lana. I made it look like the blame lay with her sister. That when she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid. So you assisted Miss Sky. I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. I know, yeah, right. And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dark convicted. When I tampered with the crime scene, I hid 2 pieces of evidence. This was before Lana arrived at the scene, mind you. 2 pieces of evidence. You mean those items in your safe? Well, why? For reinsurance, of course. Insurance. I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed. You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence? What do you take me for, a fool? I didn't make the police chief by luck. See this jar fragment? I hid the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces. Objection! What if you fabricated all the evidence? What's to say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar too? Oh. Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance. You mean that piece of cloth? Come on, Righto, cough it up already. I know you have it. What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright? So you admit to it then, Chief Gant, that you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe? Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that, being chief and all, but it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer. Mr. Wright, you have to say for yourself. Just a moment ago you said you didn't have any evidence you could present. Foolish move, righto? You should have known it before it was too late. It's been a long battle. But the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up your victory is mine. Your Honor, I do have the evidence to present now. Alright then, let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows who actually murdered. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest? Oh yes, at least you've finally brought it out to the open. There's a handprint on this piece of cloth. Your Honor, prosecution requests that immediately be sent to the lab for analysis. The handprint on the leather. There must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly. Could have not been forged. It must be an authentic, conclusive evidence. Oh, you're as slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy. What? Yeah, but I don't had all this time to present this evidence. Yeah, he was reluctant to do so. Why do you think that would be? I mean, you already know. You know whose fingerprints are on that? Sure, I really know. Where's the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they? Very well. I'll tell you. You'll be okay now. Everything is proceeding as predicted. Emma Sky? What? They're mine? I'm sorry, Emma. But why? Why didn't you tell me? Oh ho ho. Really something, righto? You knew that girl did it all along, and yet you still try to pin the murder on me. No, it's true, tragic but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death. Hold it! How could you, you monster? This guy, you knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really did it. This guy, it's not over yet. What? I said this trial isn't over yet. Huh, but I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career too. Proposed concealed evidence. Oh, you supposedly concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. What's the matter, cat? Got your tongue? Aren't you gonna tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl to a murderer? Before I do that, there's just one thing I have to clear up. Oh, and what's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? What? Chief Gant, you were absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask? It was Emma Skye, wasn't it? I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. See my hands on my hip, Your Honor? You see that? You see that, Cat? It means you're fat, you piece of shit! What contradiction? What is this foolish babbling about? I'm talking about a contradiction, one that proves who the real killer is. Somebody clip that, please. Mr. O'Malley, Mr. This piece of cloth. What could it possibly contradict? Chief Gant, your tyrannical reigning ends here. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth. What exactly is this supposed to be? This is the picture Miss Skye took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of his vest was cut out? Yes, his shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all that blood on his vest, though. Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood that's only natural. His lungs, no doubt, were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth. Oh, but that piece of cloth. Wait. There's no blood on it. Ah! Since Emma Skye's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword at the time! No, this is nonsense. Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved inside. He was most likely hit on his head on the ground. Oh, he was most likely hit on his head on the ground and was knocked out. If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Lana Skye, picked up the unconscious prosecutor, and impaled him on the armor sword? Then to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. A jar that they then broke on purpose to leave behind a clue. And to make Lana believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted only moments ago? That you personally cut out this bloodless piece of victim's vest? Ironic, isn't it? So, the very act of creating insurance, you proved that you were the actual murderer. No! It's finally all over. No, it's not. We didn't prove why Goodman was killed. What the fuck? Why? Objection! Oh, ho, ho, ho. That was close, Righto. You almost had me. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations. What do you mean you refute his allegations? You see that piece of cloth? It's illegal evidence. Order, order. What nonsense is this? Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict the suspect. Remember Raji? Earlier, old Ryo here concealed that piece of cloth. So then what's your excuse, Ryo? Do you have some cooking? Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence. That moment, that piece of cloth was ceased to be legal evidence. That's not fair! Ho 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 ho! Did you think you could best me in court? Looks like the last laugh's on you, son. I'm afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth? True. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal. Well, Mr. Wright. Seems at last the time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived. Mr. Wright, do you admit it? You purposefully and illegally concealed this piece of cloth? I wanted to do that for fun. I admit I refused to present it at one point. Aha, so the evidence is illegal. Objection! No, it isn't, Mr. Gant. It's not that I didn't present the evidence then, it's that I couldn't. What do you mean you couldn't? Slam! There are certain procedures involved when presenting evidence. No, Haji, don't listen to his lies. There's nothing but a coward you can't really believe. Objection! There is only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? It's not even about Goodman anymore, it's about the SL9 and or SL, yeah, like what? Why are we, what happened to Goodman? Very well, let's settle this once and for all. Earlier you refused to present this evidence. If you can prove your conduct is not in violation of the law, then do so now. This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law. What's this? I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more. What? You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of the evidence law. Rule number 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself inside your safe. It goes without saying, I did not have approval from the police department. Rule number 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And here's the crux of the matter. You see, at the time it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident. What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and objection! Sorry, but can you recall when was that picture presented? It was shown only a few moments ago. No. He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Gant. You yourself confessed to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut this piece... You personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Okay, oh yes. No! Stop the boss music! It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth. The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer. And there's only one person who that could be. Damon Gant! The killer was you! No, none. Knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years he's been snooping around the department trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me. Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Star, then he convinced Bruce Goodman. Detective Goodman? Yeah, that's right. If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find the truth. Please, you gotta help me. Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit. He called Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence. Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I sent him with the evidence. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden he decided to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman? Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered. He opened his evidence locker, and as he was taking the evidence out, he asked, "It's not too late. I'm gonna hand all of this over to Marshall." Well, to be honest, I was a bit taken back by his words. I had a bad feeling when he came to see me, but I never thought he'd bring up SL9. That's when I saw it. The cursed knife. Oh shit. I couldn't just pull it out. By doing so, you would have led to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime. And so the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I hurried to wipe it up. I was worrying so much about the floor, I didn't realize my fatal mistake. The bloody handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker. I used to be known as the crime computer, but everyone has to start somewhere. I guess I was too nervous. I had no business of doing any of it. And you put the body in my car? I'm sorry, I couldn't think of any other way to move the body. I broke your trunk, but what's the big deal? Make a lot more than us detectives ever will. Leaving your prosecution's car aside, how could you get Miss Sky involved in all this? Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out. So you took Goodman's... Oh, wait, sorry. So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker? Felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have the time to pick and choose what to take. So, you left the jar fragments and the glove. Yeah. Looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. They all did their best to get in my way. I gotta hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay. Like evidence doesn't hold up very well in close examination. You must have known that. Tell me, Worthy, why do you stand in court? Me? You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day you'll understand. And believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go at it alone. Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Udgy. What? Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend. I'm sorry too, Damon Gant. I knew you as you used to me long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person. Those days are gone now, Edgy. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Rido here. And Worthy. These two around. You can't go wrong. In fact, I can hear them already. The melodious sounds of a new beginning. There are two things I want you to understand. Yes? First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the very beginning. You see, Miss Sky, you no longer have any reason to keep silent. Alright? When this trial is over, I'll tell you everything. All that I've done these past 2 years, from the time I had Gant help me forge evidence up till today. So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered. I'm sorry, Miss Sky. I couldn't get you out of all of your trouble. My, what high standards you have for a rookie. See why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows, a few years from now, you just might make it to the top. Oh, you my thanks, Mr. Wright. The Sky. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know much of an ordeal. I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you. It was nothing. Liar. I was worried the pressure might break you, and yet you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth. Stop it. I only did my job. In light of this case, it seems there's a good self-examining. Oh god, fuck. It seems there's a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Sky. Yes, Your Honor. You were innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, and the fact is you still act as his accomplice, a trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date. Yes, I understand, Your Honor. There's something amusing about all of this. Why are you smiling? It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I've felt free of these heavy chains. Well, Mr. Allen's gone on for too long already regarding the charge of murder. This court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Sky, not guilty. And that is all. This court is adjourned. Long last, it's finally over. Fuck. Oh god, no. Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook, but at least she wasn't convicted for murder she didn't commit. No, that's not it. Just now, after the trial ended, you can see why Mia Fey thought so highly of you. Oh, you might think so, right? And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. Done well. Yeah, read that. 3 days and 2 mental breakdowns later, we have finally finished this case. You know I did my best too, but Lana didn't say a single word to me. I hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Gumshoe, get the fuck out of here. I swear to fucking god, this is the 3rd time we do this. I'm gonna cut your salary so much that you're gonna have to pay to work. Could you go away? Oh, I guess I am. I'll come back later. Oh wait, Gumshoe. Detective Gumshoe. Oh my god. Oh my mic. You're doing this all on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Hey, line up, pals. I'm only kidding. Oh, are you here because of my sister again? God, Jesus. Nope, not this time. I came today because of you, pal. Me? That's right. I thought you'd like to see some. Oh, Lana! Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know. Well, I won't tell if you won't. Now I owe you an apology. It's okay, sis, don't worry about it. That day 2 years ago. was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess. Sis, I asked Aunt to help me cover up the truth. Thought I was doing it for your sake, but now I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. She was a good pal sometimes. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 days. I knew how much I was hurting. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew. What's this? You're only doing it for me. No. I turned my back on you that day, and hiding what I believed to be the truth. I was deceiving you. I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm so sorry. But sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now. And we're happy. And of course, you know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back, and now you have. Oh, Emma. Ooh, do we get a wholesome screenshot moment? Oh, yeah, we do. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in doing so doing, we can find the way back to our rightful path. And it is from there that we can move on toward a brighter future. At least, that's what I felt watching the two sisters make up. Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe, me! Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right, Edgeworth? Edgeworth? Stop hiding and come over here. Where was he hiding? I just came to say congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Right. Right, well, I'll be going now. Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you. Oh no, fuck, it's too late for me. No matter what anyone may say, I realize today that I can't correct my mistakes. Mr. Edgeworth. Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gant was right. I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them, but in order to fight crime on my own, I needed a weapon. It's scary, but I've known that to be true for quite some time now. But Edgeworth, who knows, given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gant did. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue being a prosecutor. Edgeworth, don't you understand? Damon Gant and your mentor, Manfred von Karma, were both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime, but they both made the same mistake. You see, you said, in order to fight crime on my own, I need a weapon. That may be true, but think back to the day's trial. You weren't alone. You were working together with Mr. Wright, and because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? What? Oh, yeah. What is this, a pop quiz? Come on, Mr. Wright, show him what Lana's talking about. Evidence, huh? Something that neither Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own. think it was this, because we combined them, right? Fuck it. Take that! That's the picture I drew. Our counterattack began with this. We had one half of the evidence, and I had the other. Apart, we wouldn't be able to completely restore him his picture. That didn't just happen by chance, Mr. Edgeworth. It's time for me to go. Mr. Edgeworth, do excuse me. There are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor. Edgeworth, what will you do now? Oh, whatever you do, just remember, you can let what happened kill the prosecutor and you, or you can you can let it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you. I know, it seems that you might think too, right? But what I face now is my problem. Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court. Farewell. I better be going to. Okay, but I'll be by to visit soon. Seems we both have a lot to learn, catching up to do. Here, a little something for you. Scientific investigation. The first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis, I will. Wholesome. And so another case came to a close. And as for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives so have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. Well, don't go trekking off just yet, pal. Huh? What is it, detective? I was just about to end the game here. There's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this, but I thought you said it was okay. Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks at the prison are a different story, huh? Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either. Way go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side. Yeah, well, Mr. Right here is the one who'll be footing the bill. What, you think I can afford it without my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal. Thank you, Mr. Right, you're the best. Edgeworth, help. What is it? I suddenly feel like I want to scream. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we all go pay it off together? Yeah, that's a great idea. Come on, guys. Let's go. Objection! And so the courier who cheated death in the cemetery outside Good Springs cheated death once again, and the Mojave wasteland was forever changed. Oh my god. Time together with Emma. Oh, sorry, I should be reading that. Yikes, I thought it was a goner for a moment there. In the end, no. And they overlooked my unauthorized investigation of the chief's office. If we penalize you anymore, it'd be worse than firing you. Yep, that's what they said. It just goes to show you can't shake me off that easily. Fucking gumshoe. What a great game. It was a great first game. Really well made. Except for this case. This case was fucked. New mission is the guard. The main entrance. Oh fuck. Can you believe it? I've been demoted to a security guard. Keeping an eye out on the entrance for me today. I'll show them though. Someday I'm gonna make a detective. Oh, make detective. Yes sir. Then I can just be like the Dick Gumshoe. case was a clusterfuck. It felt like a community-made case because there were contradictions within that fucking. Oh, it broke. No. At last, it broke. Fumaki Sato. Hitoshi Sakai Shiro Mikata. Nasuge Kunako. Oh, what is it? Can't you see I'm having me a showdown with the steak lunch partner? Why'd they let my knife? Why'd they let me keep my knife? Looks like you did it. You even gave Bambina back her smile. Make sure Billy and the gang get their water. God, man, this case was a disaster. So we've seen each other for a while. Take all of this, a farewell gift. I put a new meal on the menu, the right way lunch. Wholesome, thank you. The top layer tastes as bitter as defeat, but the bottom layer is sweet. Kids seem to dig a turnabout theme. It's a hot seller. So make sure not to eat it backwards. Doo-doo. I'll never forget what the young defense lawyer said after the job. I've got another trial to get to, so I better oh no, I forgot my gavel. Sorry, I gotta go. Hey, look, we can see the chair. Ah, nothing soothes the soul like fresh country air. Still, sometimes I do miss hearing you and your objection. Still, I can't go back till I am a full-fledged spirit medium. Looks like my afternoon training's about to begin. Oh, hey. Well, see you around, Nick. I'm off to steal more things. Yay! It's not canon. Mr. Edgeworth. Oh, Mr. Edgeworth. I brought you your tea. What's this going on? What's going on? Oh. Thanks for coming to see me off. I can't believe I'm going to Europe. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thank you so much for everything. I'm a little sad, but I'll be alright. Whenever I want to see Lana, all I have to do is open this book. Beep. That's cute. Well done, Capcom. But you still manage on doing your bullshittery with a lot of self-contradictions. Which makes me angry. from there, we're already done with Ace Attorney. Next up is Justice for All. Then we get to Trial and Tribulations. It's gonna be interesting. Next time on The Walking Dead. I'm not guilty. Alright, let's do a quick preview. We'll do a quick preview just as well. The Lost Turnabout. Well, so an issue that has already been Grr, how did I get into this mess? That's far enough. You can't run forever, Mr. Phoenix Wright. What? What have I done wrong? I cannot allow you to go on like this. I'm just a civil defense attorney. Silence! You are no longer worthy of your title. Number 8, 9:08 AM, District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 1. And that's where we'll be leaving it off for today. Nightmare. Oh, we're still in the preview, hold up. I bet it was this ringtone that caused it. Well, you shouldn't be dozing off right before a trial starts anyway. Ah, looks like they hung up. Ah, good. Finally found it. Talk about a close call. I hate to do this to you, but it's nothing personal, Mr. Attorney. A few minutes later, District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 1. And that's where we're leaving things. We'll keep it separate. This is Justice for All. This is where we're keeping it for today. Gotta freeze that bullshit. That's it for today, and we'll end up continuing tomorrow. Fucking hell. Pixel, you're better off watching a walkthrough. I mean, I'm uploading all my stuff to YouTube, so I mean, you could always watch it, but you'll be there. I'm telling you, Pixel, if you go to watch it all on YouTube, when I finish uploading it, you need to watch, like, what is almost 30 hours. 30 hours of gameplay. So, good luck. Nah, I'll do it tomorrow. I'm gonna get off right now. I'm tired already. Just stop it here, we'll mess around with all that stuff later. Yeet.